preparing to live stream the meeting?
It's being live streamed, it says.
I'll give a countdown when it is 2 minutes to go and 30 seconds to go, and I'll count down for last 5.
Thank you.
Two minutes to go. Okay. Annapurna, last check. Camera one time, please. Awesome. Thank you. $60 seconds to go. I'll give a thumbs up when it is go time. Okay. Last 10 seconds.
Your video is not on.
Annapurna.
Om. 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 Om Shri Sai Ram. Today is Ishwaramba Day, an extra special day. The day we are paying our reverence to the mother who bore and raised the Lord of the universe. Our humble pranams to Mother Ishwaramba, our humble pranams to our Lord Sri Satya Sai. Welcome to yet another evening of Region 10's Inspirational channel. Hope all of you had a wonderful Aradhana Day celebration at your own centers and are making plans for this weekend to have Ishwaramba Day, SSC graduations, and other festivals. In our channel, as you know, this quarter we have been having the series to get to know the leaders in our region. So today is the second of 3 talks where we will be listening to one of the leaders in our region. Last month, Sister Bindu from Austin shared with us most beautiful experiences, her own transformation from being I am imperfect to I am perfect, sharing very practical tips for individuals, leaders, and leaders beyond their leadership role. Now, carrying on in the same vein, this month we are going to have Sister Annapurna Jonnalagadda from North Houston Center. Sister Annapurna has been blessed to be in a Sai family. Over 3 generations, they have been devotees of Swami, and she has many experiences to share. In her journey with Swami, she has had very many beautiful opportunities to serve Swami as an SSC teacher, now as the president of the North Houston Center, as well as the lead for the women's wing activities at that center. Many a times, she also, along with her center members, participates in the larger South Houston Center activities and in the regional activities. So I am really looking forward to listening to her experiences along with each and every one of you. Sister Annapurna, welcome to the center, and please take it over. Sai Maa.
Sai Ram, I'd like to start by thanking Sister Vijayashri for this opportunity that I could reflect upon my journey with Swami. And I would like to also thank Sister Bindu from South Houston Center, who decided to present in June, giving me more time to present today. With that, I offer my most humble pranams at my dear Swami's lotus feet and fondly remember the opportunity to think about Mother Ishwarama, Mother Peddabotu Akaigaru, as we used to call her when we were young. So I'll start with a small hook to the whole thing, which is as Sister Vijayashri explained, I was very lucky to be born into a Sai family where it was told that Swami is God. I opened my eyes into a family that told me that Swami is God. So let me read out a small quote that appealed to me for today's talk. In this busy age of fear and anxiety, the remembrance of God, the repetition of His name, is the means of liberation that is accessible to all. Believe it or not, this opportunity made me reflect on my past 5 decades of life, to think about my childhood, think about my journey with Swami, and I have to be candid with you all, as you're all my Sai family, that I struggled with this internal battle, if you will, of having anger and frustration towards Swami. And all my previous journey till the past decade, I did not know unknowingly how I was in the corner of my heart harboring the frustration and anger towards Swami. And how he, as a Sai mother, lovingly accepted even those feelings from me and converted them into pure thoughts. If I can take you back to my childhood, beginning with my grandmother. My grandmother was a devotee from the late 50s, lived with Swami for about, I would say, more than a decade. At that time, all of the devotees were literally construction workers, believe it or not, helping build the ashram buildings, the colleges, and so on. My grandmother was an active participant. Going into a little bit of her background as well. She became a widow at a young age of 16 and had her children at 14 and 15 respectively, and lost her husband at 16. So being a single woman trying to support her children, calamity after calamity fell on her. She lost her daughter when the daughter turned 16. So she was left to fend for herself and fend for her young son. And as tradition called during those times, coming from a traditional background, she was asked to put on a white, cloth to cover herself. They shaved her head. And with this kind of a situation, she was carrying on her life, again, raising her son who was running around during independence movement, not going to school, but rather going to prison during the independence movement. And while all this was happening, she tread the society, the norms and everything very carefully. And eventually when they moved to Hyderabad and then came into Swami's fold, my grandmother was the first one in the 50s who came to Swami, stayed with Swami. And during those times, again, as I mentioned, because of the tradition, because of the clothing, because of the way they are supposed to dress up and look a certain way, the magnanimity of Swami was that he made sure all the women widowers who were dressed like my grandmother, he had asked all of them to get blouses stitched and cover themselves more properly, instilling that self-confidence in them finally and giving them the dignity of dressing up properly just like the rest of the women, even though they lost their husband. That experience had made a deep impact on how Swami is so sensitive, and when he says, I'm a woman among a woman, it just hits me that he understood the deeper sensitivities of those women, how they can protect themselves by dressing properly so they can hold themselves, carry themselves in front of other people when they're in midst of people. And then, as I said, she had taken a very active role in Swami's mission in construction back in the day, and their incentive was that Swami would come at the end of the day and give out Horlicks to everybody. So it takes me back. We pass out coffee at the center, at the end of the center for those who set up and clean up the center. So similarly, back in the day, Swami used to pass out Horlicks. and Swami used to pass out Amrutam. And I remember she was such a naughty lady when it comes to Swami, and being very free with Swami. Her relationship with Swami had laid out the road for me to feel that Swami is not somebody who is distant. I can say all the things that I would say to my dear friend. I can, hold him responsible, hold his collar. I can say whatever I want. So that kind of a intimate, personal relationship I have seen her. And I think it came from the fact that she had interacted with Swami at a close quarters, cooked for Swami. One of the favorite dish she used to tell me was Swami used to like pesarattu. And she would sit in these lines what Swami would be distributing Amrutam. And then she would change lines and sit in the next one. And Swami would say, hey, you're coming back again to take second time, third time. So she used to have that Sai Krishna kind of a relationship with Swami, and was that Gopika. And that has laid the foundation as to how God is not somebody that you put in the altar and keep that respectful distance and only go once a day or twice a day to the puja room and bow down to Swami. So having that kind of a close relationship was to see was very personal. And when she would get upset with Swami, she would say all sorts of things to Swami. And that beauty in that personalization just amazed me right from young age. And she was very, very close to Peddabottu Akkai Garu. As some of you may know, Peddabottu Akkai Garu was, or Shirdi Maa as she used to be called, was a very ardent devotee of Swami, had gone through umpteen challenges in her personal life and held on to Swami. So my grandmother was no different when I look back, having gone through many, many challenges in personal life. The only happiness she had was the presence of Swami. And as I look back, they both, Peddabottu Akkai Garu and my grandmother, were also close to Ishwaramma Garu. So my sister was reminding me that because I was very young, Ishwaramma Garu, who passed away, I've never seen Ishwaramma Garu, but I have, whenever I and my sister would go to Puttaparthi when young, we would stay in the room of Peddabottu Akkai Garu. And as they were contemporaries, as even Ishwaramma Garu used to stay in the shed, just like my grandmother. So they all shared Swami's stories. They all had such wonderful, wonderful time together, thinking of Swami. All were, all lost their husbands. They had a lot of setbacks in life, but they had a common happiness, their love for Swami, and that bond. I can imagine how it would have been such a happy place to be. And all these experiences while they were having, she used to recount so many things. When my father constructed the home, Swami named the home to be Geetanjali, sent Peddabottu Akkai Garu. She came home to, I do not remember this experience, but she came home with Swami's robes as gift, and made my mother and my grandmother very happy. My grandmother, mind you, is my father's mother, and my father was never a believer in Swami. So I'm going to transition into my father's story now. My father always allowed his mother to go to Puttaparthi, but was never a fan, always used to say that Swami is for rich people, he is not for a common man. And it so happened my grandmother used to talk to Swami about when will you call my son? And then Swami in Telugu, I would say that Eppudaina na daggaraku vachevade. He ultimately will only come to me, but said it in a very colloquial way, that my grandmother was like, okay, the time is going to come and come and come. She used to wait. Swami one day called my grandmother and said, your daughter-in-law is now pregnant. My parents did not have children for a long time until Swami blessed and sent my grandmother back home. And my sister was born to my parents as the first child. And she was named by Swami as Kinnira. We call her Kinni even today, her pet name. So my parents named her Sai Lakshmi. And she got her first letter, Omkaram, written by Swami. And after all these blessings, going back to my father, around 1978, when Swami was constructing his Bangalore colleges, Swami, the government of India, Department of Education, wanted my father, who used to work with them, to send the funds for the college to Swami formally. So they picked my father, and my father picked two of his subordinates with him to take with him to Parthi. So to Bangalore, I'm sorry. Let me quickly share my screen and show you all the one of the pictures. Vishnu, are you able to see it? Can you confirm? Awesome. So in the main picture, Swami's left hand, that's where my father is standing. So as soon as Swami saw him in the crowd, which is the rightmost picture, Swami called him and said, Uchava Naina Murti, which translates to, have you come, my dear son, finally? And did an embrace like Lord Rama would do to Lord Hanuman, that you have finally come. So it reminds me that just like how I am, let's say, pining for Swami, we are all pining for Swami. Swami is pining a lot more to welcome us. After embracing my father was a guest of Swami for the next 12 days or so, dined every day with Swami. And at the final day, as you can see in the pictures, Swami gave him a ring, blessed him with a cassette tape, one with bhajans of Swami in his own voice, and then another one made by a Western devotee, a day in the life of a devotee, describing the ashram's schedule for the entire day. And Sen also sweetly sent a couple of Balavikas SSC books for my sister and myself. All those seeds, all those directions manifested much later in her life and my life. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. As he was leaving Swami, the last meal, Swami said, you like Bobattu, which is Puran Poli. I made sure that they made Puran Poli today for you, Bobattu for you, Murthy. And he made him eat his favorite sweet dish before winding his trip down. My father wrote a couple letters from there to my grandmother, his mother, saying how beautiful the whole trip is, how sweet Swami is, and how it feels to experience God in person. And as you can imagine, he came back totally surrendered, completely transformed, and he had stopped wearing any color clothing and completely changed into all white. I'm going to pause there for a second and go back to the initial statement that I made about my anger and frustration towards Swami. I just want to remind you all how it took place. Coming back, my father came back from Parthi, end of 78, and in no time, his health started going downhill. He was diagnosed with liver cancer and was given about 3 months at the most to live. And every afternoon, there used to be a scent that only if you would have been to Parthi, if Swami is walking, that scent of Swami was the scent that used to come when my father was in the Usmania hospital in Hyderabad. Every day the scent, and my grandmother used to ask my father, if Swami is there, ask him for an extension of life, ask him for more health. And my father, as I said, was such a transformed person by that time that he said, if Swami's design is for me to leave, even though I have very young children and a young wife, that is his call. I have completely surrendered to his will. And in 1980 August, my father passed away. I was barely 7 years old. My sister was about 9.5. My mother became a young widow at 39. And while this calamity fell on my mother and my grandmother, who lost all her children at this point, Swami also came to Shivam right around 1980. I don't know how, but I got split from my family. My family decided to go see Swami. And then I was sitting way in the back, but in the first line of that section. As a 7-year-old, it was not easy to process my father's passing. At that time, it did not hit. But Swami was giving darshan. If you all know Shivam, there is a main entrance where main podium, if you would say, where Swami's chair is always there. All I remember is that Swami has come to the women's wing section of the auditorium. I was sitting in the lawn, and as soon as I saw Swami, I don't know where from, I started sobbing uncontrollably. The sorrow knew no bounds. As if Swami is putting his hand in my heart and opening it up or mixing it up. That is what he was doing on the stage. And I just couldn't control myself. There was a knowing that I know him. I know him for a long, long, long time. There was simply that knowing that dawned on me as a 7-year-old. Again, physically, I felt he was putting his Swami's hand in my heart and mixing it up and letting my emotion come up. And as that single experience, because I have been to Parthi also at that time, Swami's robe touched me and all that. But this experience of knowing that I know him forever, I want him. Those feelings were crystal clear even today when I picture myself sitting in that crowd, looking at Swami as soon as Swami came to the women's side of the Shivam. And I think faith was my anchor from the beginning. I do not think I developed it by myself, but it was just there from looking at my grandmother, her intimate relationship with Swami, her free relationship with Swami as if he is her own. that she can say anything to him, that she can hold him responsible for anything. That holding him responsible, I was doing it silently as I grew older, came to know of the absence of having a father in my life as a child, not having that financial stability. Mind you, my mother was working full time. My grandmother was a fearless, strong lioness, if I can call her. And my mother was a humble, kind, gentle mother, taking care of me and my sister, making sure she was making ends meet, making sure she was giving us good education. She was the anchor. But my grandmother was the mother that would stay home and be with us. The childhood, as I said, had those struggles that each time I came across a challenge, I held Swami responsible. That frustration towards life turned into the negative emotion of anger towards Swami. So in a corner of my heart, I was harboring, I was making him responsible for the lack in my life, if you will. And as things were progressing, I moved to Canada after marriage and joined. The first thing I would do was to find out where the local Sai Center is. On Merton Street, the only Canadian, Sai Center at that time in Toronto was on Merton Street. I joined there as a young adult. My fondest memories of my young adult days was when we did a play for Swami's birthday on Mirabai. And I ended up playing the role of Mirabai and danced and enjoyed the dance drama. And that was my natural calling from the beginning, is towards drama, towards dance, and towards song. So keeping that in mind, I'm sure, Swami also got me married into a family who were professional in dance and drama and art and cinema. So going into a new country brought its own challenges. And again, center was my anchor. Any challenge I would face, I would not leave the center. Being regular at the center, in spite of I joined university. I was doing a second undergrad there at University of Toronto. And having the center as an anchor, going to Swami, making sure I have my cup filled, that faith was, again, strong thanks to my grandmother, thanks to my mother, her humble devotion, her surrender to Swami, no matter what the situation is, her smiling nature to take on life's challenges. So I saw both coins. I saw my grandmother, I saw my mother, two different forms of devotion and relationship towards Swami. And after, as challenges were coming in this corner of my heart, I was moving the anger quotient towards Swami, whereas the rest of the heart was filled with so many presences of Swami that I felt throughout challenging times. Life was tough, to get settled in a new country, to get educated, to, be married. As I was navigating all that and moving to Houston by that time, having children, and during that phase as well, Swami showing me many experiences of his presence through my mother. Having my mother here and in dreams showing her feet, but Swami's face, telling me that I am coming there as your mother to help. As, again, faith increased, participation in South Houston Sai Center, as young adult, as doing service remotely, starting life with work and such continued. And as all these new chapters in life were happening, my relationship to Swami took a backseat. Although I've never not attended center, remotely participated in the service activities. That was my anchor throughout, is to hold on to my Swami. I needed a physical place. I needed to go to bhajans and attend. I needed to be part of service activities to feel his presence. And as all these phases were happening, finally, Swami thought, as I was in council for a long time, playing different roles in North Houston Center, time came, Swami thought, as the accumulation of, again, as I said, the anger and frustration towards my inner Swami increased. Around 2014, 15, I should say, Swami decided to break me apart completely, piece by piece, to dismantle me completely with challenges such as health, loss of before I go to 2014, I would like to mention that my affinity or my fondest memory of South Houston Sai Center is the Sai parenting. The Sai parenting books I got introduced there as a young mother. For me, it was fantastic to see, oh my God, Swami has given direct guidance on how to raise children. So followed, became a fan of Rita Bruce, hosted her, got the good opportunity to host her and her husband, Robert Bruce, both of them at my home when they were conducting sessions. Decided to follow Swami's lead on it and quit my corporate job, high-paying, retirement enriching job, and decided to stay home to take care of my older one. The same thing I got to repeat for the second one too. So coming to 2014, as I was getting so many setbacks, health, job, husband's job, Swami was dismantling me from inside, center, from all directions I was facing challenges. And at that time, again, as the turmoil was going on inside of my heart, the pinnacle of those negative emotions in my heart towards Swami. Why me, Swami? Why are you doing this, Swami? You have the whole world in your hands. Can you not do something? Why are you ignoring me? All these feelings were going on inside my heart. And at that time, walked in. I was an SSC teacher by then, already teaching students, coming from an education background from the entire family. That was natural for me to do so. And again, having a lot of affection towards kids in general was very natural. I was the neighborhood akka for all the little girls in the street. So it was natural for me to gravitate towards teaching SSC. And right around the emotional peak of turmoil going on, a couple walked into the center. Lata Nishtala and Murthy Nishtala, those of you who are from North Houston Sai Center may recognize them. And Lata Nishtala, became my co-teacher in Group 3. And she has come with a lot of experience teaching at multiple different locations, countries. And Murthy Garu, whose name is my father's name, I had that respect towards him, as he was an elderly gentleman and also very, very easy to talk to and easy to get advice from. And as I was working with Lata Nishtala Garu, it was like a lab and a lecture, if you can understand. He was lecture portion of the course, and she was the lab, the practical aspect of the course. both of them, Swami sent them as anchors to me. As I was working with her in SSC, I was able to look at the material in a different way, look at how to deliver content in a simplistic way to Group 3 children. It was just amazing to work with her, and her dedication towards delivering material, delivering SSC was so professional that it just stole my heart. And every week I used to go to her home, sit and work on material so we can present to the students. For the longest, spend at least a half a day to make sure we are discussing, funneling the material, making sure we can make it to the level that students can understand. It was just an amazing experience. While I was there, I was also able to interact with Murthy Garu in the evenings if I would go an evening to work with her. And as I started opening up little by little, I was able to talk and open up with Murthy Garu about my innermost qualms, if you will, with Swami, and what happened as a childhood to lose my father, to lose my confidence as a child, when I wanted to be out there with my friends, when I wanted to do things, I was told that, no, you're a girl, you don't have a father. So many restrictions were put on me, including decisions like marriage that was done, like, you're already 20, it's time to get married, you don't have a father. So umpteen number of times I was reminded that I don't have a father. Thereby the choices of life are like this. Thereby, I can pursue some things. So time and again when these they hit my self-confidence to the core. And each time something like that would happen, I would turn back and quarrel with Swami and say, it is because of you. You did this to me. Again, I just want to remind the listener that the faith quotient was pretty strong. And then this negative emotions towards Swami were building up throughout my childhood because of these experiences around. So moving on, as I was working with both Lata and Murthy Nishtala, I was able to chip one by one all these emotions and feelings and thoughts I had. One by one, I was able to air them, if you will. And each time I opened the thought and looked at them and discussed with Murthy Garu and Lata Garu, we were able to cross out one thought at a time and transform it and look at the positive side of what Swami has done in my life and how he had shown experiences, how he has been with me that I decided to take it for granted. That's you, Swami. You have to be there. You have no choice. But you have done all these things to me. So that kind of a childish, if you will, or that kind of a argumentative relationship that I had with Swami was the one that got chipped, and finally got my heart opened up that I could accept Swami to the fullest. As this transformation happened, a decade back, I should say by now, as they came, they left the center, they moved on. And then things started changing just as the transformation has happened. I suddenly got a job, full-time position after being with the kids for some time. My husband got a job. Health improved. Miraculously went back. In no time, got promoted to a leadership position. So all the lapses or the losses of not being in full-time career was just very quickly, things were changing. As I look back, the dismantling and then putting those pieces back where I would have liked them to be. Going back, I've never, again, as I mentioned, never not missed a center session. Never, unless I'm not in town. I've never wanted to leave Swami at any cost. For me, center was Swami's home, my father's home. That's it. There is no questions about it. There is that it is my father. It is my father's home. And I go there to get the relief. I go there to fill my cup for the rest of the week. I go there to tell him my concerns. I go there to share my happiness. And my anchor to Swami was writing letters. My friends used to joke, oh my God, if we send our letters through you, I know Swami will accept. And they used to make it a point to give the letters to me so I could take it to Swami. My form of expression of my feelings to Swami, I always like to write them down in a letter so it would be easy as elders. I had one of my neighbors, Mangamataya. She was the one who suggested, why don't you write a letter to Swami? If Swami is not looking at you, I would, as a teenager, when I would go to Swami, I would again have that attitude of argumentative attitude and, quarreling with Swami in my mind saying, you haven't looked at me. Have you looked at me? No, I've been sitting here for this long, this many years. I would stop eating. I would stop eating if Swami would not look at me. I'm like, no, 3 days, 4 days. Are you going to look at me? Until he looked at me, took my letter. So that was my relationship with Swami. And one of the Parthi trips where I stayed, for I think at least 40 days, I remember Swami had was not feeling well and was not able to walk properly. He had come all the way out when I was saying bye to him to leave. And in that trip, he had showed me serving while my mother and my older one was, sitting there. It was hot summer and people were needing to take medications and, ladies would hold the medicines in their hand. I would say there is no water and Saivadal wouldn't be able to come all the way in. And that's when I served for the first time in front of Swami, taking the water and giving it to folks so that they can have the medicines. And that service that I got the opportunity to do in front of Swami while Swami was sitting in the bhajan hall had a deep impact. That Swami was sending that message that serving is very important. Praying to him is very important, but serving is also very important to see him in others. So that was one of my lessons in Puttaparthi that I took. And at work, when I take these principles, when I have to do conflict resolution, I manage a very large team of 21 people. And every time there is a conflict that 2 people are sitting in my office, or there is a very hard one-on-one meeting that I have to do and put in corrective action, that one single thought, even though I may not have time while I'm doing multitasking, that simple thought, Swami, please be with me. That's it. One simple one-liner I felt works for me. Each time I have to prepare for an SSC class, all I do is bring up a word template that I have made with Swami's picture on the side. Swami, this lesson you have to do. I put in the date and I offer it to him, saying, Swami, this is the next week's SSC class. Please, it is your class. So going back to writing, I make sure, for me, it's thought, word, and deed being in sync when you write something to Swami. The thought of thinking of him words of formulating what I want to say to him, and then putting it down in paper. That sync of thought, word, and deed, and materialization of that thought happens when you write to Swami. Any major milestones, I tell my children, have you written a letter to Swami and offered it to Swami? Tell him all your thoughts. Even if you don't pray every day, write to him what you feel, what you're going through, and offer it to him. I tell my SSC students, writing journal is an extremely important exercise to build that relationship with him inside your heart. Tell him your day. Tell him your challenges for the day. Chalk out your day with him. And once you do that, at nighttime, reflect. How did the day go? What did I do? What did not go through well as I planned? Did somebody hurt me? How did I feel? Swami, at the end of the day, I offer all that to you. So, taking the principles of Swami to whichever place we go, whether it be work, it doesn't have to be a complex prayer. It doesn't have to be any chanting. As long as that single thought of invoking Swami, please be with me, has always worked for me. As recently as yesterday, when I had to do a difficult one-on-one with a person that I wanted to make sure either I make a decision of move them out of the project or I give them another option within the project. It came out to be a good win-win situation for the employee and for me, who needs to make sure that things are moving. So things don't have to be complex. The relationship with Swami doesn't have to be harbored by emotions for the losses that we go through in our lives. Again, I've seen enough women in my life, all of whom have had umpteen challenges. My grandmother, my mother, Pedabottu Akkai Garu, my sister, and all of the ladies that I have come across in my childhood who used to come visit. Challenges are bound to come, unfortunately, in life. But how we deal with them and how faith can anchor us and invoke the already present Swami and manifest it. Whether it's ant in your puja room that you can see Swami in, or whether it's a manta ray in the ocean, the presence of Swami, instead of asking, why do I not see you? Why do I not experience you here, Swami, which I used to do? To now, that how do I manifest you as I see you in this ant in the puja room? I see you in this beautiful ocean in front of me. I see you when the manta ray comes and touches me in the middle of the ocean. Rather than asking, where are you? How do I see you in all of the nature that is around me, in all of the people around me? That has been my exercise or my transformation from where I was as a quarrelsome teenager, quarrelsome young girl, to somebody now who doesn't ask Swami permission for everything, but rather implicitly says, this is what Swami wants, this is what Swami expects me to do. There is no thought, there is no question about, should I pause? Is this right? Is this wrong? No, there is no pausing or asking question about my commitment to Swami. So this transformation, only Swami as a mother, as a kind, gentle, forgiving mother with a spoilt brat that he has to deal with, that she has to deal with, has dealt and brought in the transformation. And as some of you know, in the North Center, the one thing that I am super blessed about is, again, going back to that writing. He has given me uninterrupted number of years of able to write his story, write his plays for the SSC students. My interest in story writing from my childhood, he had again embraced me as a loving, kind mother and father, and giving me opportunity year after year to serve his students through the plays. With that, I would like to offer my gratitude to you all for lending your ears to his story. And with that, I'd like to turn it back to Vijayashree if anybody has any questions or any further explanations are needed.
Sai Ram, thank you so much. That was beautiful to listen to your whole journey, not just your experiences, but your grandmothers, your fathers, your moms, the whole family, and also how Swami has touched. And what a beautiful way to reflect on the Sai mother's love on this Mother's Day, Shuramba Day, as we celebrate the Mother's Day on this weekend around the Western world. You gave all of us an opportunity to think back to our own relationship as well with Swami, who's a mother of he has the love of 1,000 mothers to us, to in each of our lives, how he has showered his love and grace. So it is very, very beautiful that you shared your innermost feelings, your struggles, and how Swami helped you through other instruments and through his own nudging and guidance, that you were able to overcome all of them and made your the whole experience in your life, not just in the puja room or at the center once a week, but in your everyday life, in your professional life, and so on. So, thank you again, Sister Annapurna, for sharing all of your experiences. This is extra special for us, coinciding with the Mother's Day. Sai Maa's love indeed is our true blessing. Sai Ram.
Thank you.